In the 80s, talk shows had evolved or devolved depending on who you ask.
The new wave in television that's known as tabloid TV.
It seemed as if these shows would do almost anything to get viewers to tune in. And tune in they did.
It wasn't just celebrity chatter anymore. It started becoming more sensational and a bit over the top. So what exactly were these hosts going for? Just trying to talk about controversial topics to have the audiences wreak havoc for ratings? Miami Vice takes a shot at this question with the season 4 episode, Hell Hath No Fury. The episode opens with a talk show discussing the topic of reformed. Alan Beeks is the man in question. He apparently started a prison choir, gathered a bunch of donations to expand the prison library, so of course that means he's been reformed.
Yeah.
This may sound strange, but if it ever happened to me, God forbid, I hope it would be someone as charming as Mr. B.
This is our host for tonight, Mr. Murray Phillips, who, judging by his demeanor, doesn't seem to actually care about the topic at hand, but is more concerned with stirring the pot.
Are you saying that all parties concerned would be better served if this man were still incarcerated?
After the discussion gets nowhere, Phillips decides to contact Ellen Mason, the victim of Alan Beeks, who obviously doesn't answer the phone.
Tomorrow. Mercenaries for hire. Soldiers of fortune or paid assassins.
On the next current affair.
Take note of this, that'll be important later. Beeks thanks Phillips for having him on the show to share his side of the story. Phillips looks almost confused that he's thanking him, which begs the question that I asked earlier in the video, are these hosts trying to get a point across, or just sensationalize certain topics and issues for ratings? Unhappy that Miss Mason didn't answer the phone, Beeks calls her himself and threatens to teach her a lesson.
You witch, I'm gonna have to teach you.
I think he called the wrong woman. He should have called that lady in the audience. Back at OCB, Gina tells Tubbs that Trudy's been with Ellen Mason from the night she was to the day he was convicted. Trudy pleads with Castillo about Beeks BSing everyone into believing that he's reformed.
You have to remember, Trudy, Beeks is a first-time offender.
Come on, Lieutenant. This reform stuff is a crock.
Pulling up to the school where Ellen Mason teaches is a weirdo news guy who asks this little girl if Miss Mason touches her like she touches this boy. I'm not really sure what he's trying to imply here. It looks like she's just trying to help the boy get on the slide. That part always confused me, and I'm still not sure why he asked her that question.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Want a nice shiny quarter?
All jokes aside, this is one of a few scenes in this episode that shows how the media really have no regard for the people involved in whatever it is that's being sensationalized. Miss Mason retreats to her home where a media frenzy is in full swing, and what do you know, talk show king Murray Phillips is here, acting like he actually cares, goes around asking some people in the crowd how they feel about this case.
Excuse me, what's your name?
Linda?
Linda, and are you a neighbor of Ellen's?
Who?
Mr. Beeks makes a smart move and shows up to hopefully be forgiven by Ellen, who's being shielded by Trudy from the crowd outside. In stark contrast to Ellen, who is visibly shaken and disturbed, Phillips seems visibly aroused and looks like he's about to bust the closer Beeks gets to the door. After the media fiasco, Crockett and Tubbs head to the rehabilitation department to get some answers about Beeks' release. While they already know the answer, they ask anyway.
You've got to understand the state's point of view. It's good publicity.
Back at Ellen's place, her and Trudy are visited by Gina and Tubbs, who try to convince Trudy to take a break from protecting Ellen as it's getting in the way of her job. To no avail. Tubbs finds Crockett working overnight at the office and asks him what he would do if he was in this situation with Caitlin.
We're professionals.
You sure about that, Crockett?
Wrong.
Ellen's been rewatching the Beeks appearance on Murray's show and pauses the tape as soon as the Mercenary magazine shows up. She picks up a magazine of theirs and contacts them. She meets with the hitman at the beach and makes the deal. The next day, Trudy spots the magazine on the table and notices that Ellen circled some information to contact them. Hiding out at some hotel or motel, Beeks is attacked by our top-rated #1 hitman in Miami. The Vice Squad gets notified about the attempt on Beeks' life, and Trudy ends up telling the lieutenant about the ad she found in Ellen's apartment.
If Beeks goes down, all investigations are going to be focused on Ellen, and subsequently on you.
Tubbs talks with Ellen about not going through with the hit, as she would be aiding and abetting a murder. Ellen, completely unfazed by this, asked Tubbs what he would do if it was him. Castillo tries to obtain a court order to make the protection official, but the judge denies it, believing the media frenzy surrounding the case will intensify. Can't say I disagree. You don't want Murray Phillips to get a hold of this info.
Give me a little more.
Watching Beeks from the van, Switek and Gina talk about how Ellen did everything right by getting Beeks prosecuted. Obviously, not knowing he would eventually be released, they sympathize with the scrutiny she's been having to deal with and admit that they don't really mind if Beeks gets blown away.
You know what freaks me? The fact that part of me hopes there's some wacko out there after Beeks. And I hope he gets him.
You know what, Stan? I think I know just the right guy.
Charles Bronson.
They catch Beeks running off to go find Ellen, and eventually catch up to him at the school where she teaches at, where Beeks once again tries to offer up some sort of explanation for his actions, but this isn't looking too good.
Beeks, freeze!
Because of the system, Beeks is freed and has the smart idea of sending Ellen flowers after what just happened.
Get rid of them.
Crockett and Tubbs make their way to the American Mercenary magazine office and demand they give up their personal records for the latest issue so they can find the hitman. This leads them to Charles Hatch. Told by one of his comrades that he was last seen sighting his scope and gearing up for a mission, Crockett and Tubbs waste no time to go protect Beeks before Hatch can get him. Castillo gets word and sends backup to the location and tells Trudy a really great quote after having admitted to making a mistake.
I didn't think she'd go this far.
That's what rules are for, so you don't have to think.
Crockett and Tubbs bust in just after Beeks is killed. Hatch then fires some shots at them while trying to escape. Crockett chases Hatch down and tries to reason with him, mentioning his military background, but what do you know? Hatch ain't no patriot.
Come on, man, that's gotta count for something.
What with me? Oh yeah, sure. Every Memorial Day I get all choked up.
Tired of stalling, Hatch does the most unconvincing surrender ever.
All right, you win.
Hatch might have caught a bullet from Crockett here, or he could have just been playing possum to switch his gun. Either way, Trudy comes running in from the back and catches Hatch off guard to deliver the final blow. After confirming Hatch is dead, I'm always confused at this look Crockett gives Trudy. Is he disappointed? Was that too excessive? Or they could have taken him in a different way? I'm not sure, but I think she was 100% in the right to kill Hatch. I mean, the guy was ready to take on the cops.
Come on, you're not gonna take down a cop, man. You're too smart for that.
Yeah, what if I'm not?
I know this is probably an episode not too many people are crazy about, but I wanted to cover it because I think Vice did a good job at showing how, more often than not, the media will go to almost any length to cover a story. I mean, let's face it, Murray Phillips was never here because he wanted to understand Beeks. He thought the story was great and wanted to crank up the drama for his show. The crowd that forms outside Ellen's place just wanted quotes for headlines and don't even consider the pressure that it must be putting on her, especially after being assaulted. This is also one of the few episodes of Season 4 that involves a good amount of everyone on the team. There was also no pop songs used at all in this episode. It was an all-original score done by John Peterson, and I think it's great. You can actually find the whole score on YouTube thanks to Crockett, 1984. I'll link his channel and the playlist in the description. So there it is, everyone, Miami Vice versus Tabloid TV. I want to know what you guys think of this episode and how Vice tackled this subject. I guess I'll sign off by giving this a rating of, let's see, 4 Castillo stashes out of 5, baby. Classic Vice, definitely recommended. Check it out.